Just before dawn on January 3rd, US forces reportedly swooped into Venezuela for a dramatic operation that unfolded at speed and under extreme secrecy. Explosions were heard booming across Venezuela as US special forces allegedly kept constant surveillance on Nicolás Maduro and his immediate surroundings. The mission was reportedly named Operation Absolute Resolve, with the Trump administration said to be monitoring every movement carried out in and around Caracas in real time. Fresh details about the US operation surfaced in a report published by The Sun on January 3rd, offering a blow-by-blow account of the alleged raid. According to the report, US commanders first demolished Venezuelan air defenses, clearing the skies before moving in to raid what was described as Maduro's safe house. The operation was said to be executed in near-total darkness, involving around 150 military aircraft, including bombers used to suppress defenses and strike key sites. In roughly 30 minutes, explosions reportedly erupted, helicopters pushed in low and fast, and the safe house was raided as the mission reached its decisive phase. The Sun further claimed that strikes on a military complex, an air base, and port facilities continued for nearly an hour, suggesting a wider campaign beyond the capture itself. From 12 a.m. till 12:30 a.m., the report says US strike forces moved into position, coordinating air and sea assets around Venezuela's capital. At around 2 a.m., multiple explosions were reported in Caracas, as helicopters allegedly moved toward the location described as Maduro's safe house. Between 2 a.m. and 2:30 a.m., US Special Forces are said to have raided the Maduro complex, carrying out the core objective of the mission. From roughly 3:30 a.m. till 4:30 a.m., the report claims Maduro was extracted and transferred to a US naval ship, completing the exfiltration phase. Donald Trump reportedly gave the final approval for Operation Absolute Resolve on January 2, 2026, effectively setting the raid into motion within hours. However, reports claim the planning to capture Maduro began as early as August 2025, indicating months of preparation before the operation was launched. The CIA allegedly inserted a spy unit into Venezuela to track Nicolás Maduro's movements, building a detailed pattern-of-life profile for targeting and timing. US General Dan Kane said on January 3 that the US was even aware of Maduro's pets, a detail meant to highlight the depth of surveillance and intelligence penetration. The training was allegedly modeled on the tactics used to capture high-value targets, drawing comparisons to the planning and execution style of the Bin Laden operation. The training was allegedly modeled on the tactics used to capture high-value targets, drawing comparisons to the planning and execution style of the Bin Laden operation. NBC also reported the Venezuela mission was so tightly compartmentalized that even the Pentagon did not know the final timing until late on January 2 night. A video posted by the White House reportedly showed planes and jets taking off from military bases and naval ships, suggesting a large multi-domain deployment. General Dan Kane claimed fighter jets including F-22 Raptors and F-35 stealth aircraft were deployed, indicating the US prepared for air dominance and rapid escalation control. And according to the account, within moments of the initial strikes, Maduro and his wife were allegedly captured from their bedroom while asleep, ending the raid.
Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise, and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel so, as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings, but when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the President ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire Joint Force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49, and there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area.